Did you realize it was the same guy from Communism Therukoothu?
The guy with the beard?
Yeah, that's the same guy.
No, I didn't know that at all.
He did it back 20 years ago.
Yeah, right.
Where's his Oscar?
Where's his Oscar?
Where's his Oscar nomination at least?
Being kind to each other.
Exactly.
Is a conundrum or a paradox. Hey guys, welcome back to P-Docs Talks. Today we have Yash.
Hello everybody.
What movie are you watching today, Yash?
This week we're going to talk about one of my favorite films from Tamil cinema, starring a legend of Indian cinema. I call him Andavar. People who love him call him Ulaganayagan, and he prefers to be called Kamal Hassan. This is a film that he wrote. He didn't direct, but he wrote it, and he also stars in it. This is everything about Anbe Sivam. Oh, Anbe Sivam. First of all, Kieran, what was the movie about?
The movie was about...
I made Kieran watch the film so that we can do this podcast. What was the movie about, Kieran?
The movie was about two people on a journey. Two people from seemingly polar ideologies coming together and finding a way to move forward on their journey together. That is a very broad overview of what the...
Very broad overview.
But we'll get into the rest of it very soon.
Before we get into whether you like the film or not, how did you find the performance?
It's interesting. I come from a sporting background. I've played a lot of sport. I've trained a lot of sport. And we normally look at the idea of performing without thinking. We train all the techniques and stuff like that, but then we go into the game, we don't think about it. We just play. And there was a recent thing on Troy, who Brad Pitt, it was in Troy, who played Achilles, and they talked about his training and all that sort of preparation for the role, but he didn't like the film. But anyway, he trained for the film and he moved like a dancer because he wanted to represent the god as nothing powerful or strong, but just fluid, and that came across in that film. But Kamal Hassan brings this other part where he just kind of floats into this body, into this character. He just moves into it so effortlessly, and that's beautiful.
Yeah His performance in that film is so beautiful. I have an interesting note on that. You know how for Marty Supreme people was gunning Timothy Chalamet for an Oscar because he was wearing those thick one of the reasons was he was wearing those thick glasses and he had to wear eye correction lenses
So you could see through them.
so he sees through them. Kamal Hassan was doing that in that film. Like the glasses he's wearing right now, he's wearing it with correction lenses. He did it back 20 years ago.
Yeah, right.
Where's his Oscar?
Where's his Oscar?
Where's his Oscar nomination at least?
But I think that was one of the really interesting things that I took away. Like, a lot of people ask you, how do you know if someone's a good actor? And it's a really difficult question. Like, you kind of just feel it, like, he was really good.
Yeah.
But I kind of got the technical
You
aspect.
don't feel like they're acting.
No.
You know, they just live the character. You feel like they're...
Yeah.
You forget that they're actors and you start to believe that they are the actual characters in the film.
Yeah.
I think that's how I try to put it as well.
I do, yeah. But I think it was also that I could kind of observe... You could observe the technique if you knew about it, and that was interesting for me. For the first time, I've actually noticed technical acting that was good.
Yeah.
And like, if you're not a director who's looking at that, it doesn't matter. But that was that stood out for me. I was like, oh, now I kind of get it. Did you enjoy the film? You obviously enjoyed the film. Did I enjoy the film?
Did you enjoy the film?
Go again.
Did you enjoy the film?
I did enjoy the film. The first time I watched it, because it's not, I don't speak the language, I first had to watch it and I had to try and understand the story before I could really enjoy it. Yeah. The second time I watched it, I was like, okay, I get it. There was a more emotional connection, because the first time I was like, what the fuck's going on? I've got to keep up with the writing, and the language just keeps moving really, really fast.
He does not like subs. I learned that today.
Yeah, I don't like subs at all. I mean, subs in English I don't like. Subs in other languages are different. But yeah, so that was... But yeah, second time I watched it, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed... my favourite part of the film is the start of the film. The rest of it is good. but I enjoy the start the most. I love the setup of the characters.
Set up the characters. Okay, I
Yeah.
was getting to that. What did you particularly like? Okay,
The setup of the characters, how his persona is presented, and how the others also presented, and they're these polar clashing ideas.
Yeah.
And it gives you the rest of the film ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's very beautiful that they don't necessarily try to push their ideologies onto each other. Right? He does it very effortlessly. Right? He kind of only does it. He doesn't actually do it, but he just kind of provokes him. By him, I mean Sivam tries to provoke.
What is his ideology?
He is a communist. He's very much a communist in the film. And he's all about abolishing exploitation of workers working in this particular factory, particular company. And his entire mission is to get the workers the salary they deserve. That was one of his plot points in the film. Would you say?
Yeah, the middle section of the film.
Yeah.
But more his backstory.
His backstory.
That was part of his backstory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His backstory was also that. I think the entire film was just that. The backstory went in depth of why he wanted it.
I mean, the first part doesn't really tackle that as much.
Yeah, true.
It more tackles the idea of
it sets up. It doesn't tackle anything at that point. I don't think it was giving off that, he's trying to do it for a cause.
No, I mean, I feel like he's still, only the middle section is really doing it for cause. The start and the end, it was more like he was describing what it felt like for his idea. I mean, the middle section, what challenged me was it got a little bit propagandish at times. It was very, very pro-communist at certain points. I mean, good, bad, or ugly. I think there's pros and cons to both ideologies.
Sure.
So it's not really I'm going to pick one or the other. But that's where I was like, no, it's all right. But at the end where they talk about what they feel of communism. So communism is more a feeling that we should have a general connection and a love for each other.
Correct,
That's what I typically agreed with.
Yeah. Do you know what the title stands for?
I do.
Yeah,
Wait,
because we talked about it.
Yes.
But yes.
Yes.
But do you want to say what it is?
Please. No, you tell me.
So Anbe means love and Sivam means God. So the title basically means love is God, right? But Anbe is not something that just denotes romantic love. In a sense, it can also mean compassion. It can also mean kindness. It can also mean affection. It kind of branches out. It can mean different things. And it's very ironical because Anbarasu, Anbe is also the name of the main character, one of the main characters. And Anbarasu is someone who doesn't really know how to show love because of his deep trauma that he gets inflicted when he was very young. And Sivam is derived from Lord Shiva, so God, right? And it's also ironical because Shivam, Nallasivam in the film, is not a religious person. He's extreme atheist. But his way of connecting with God is with love around him. And love being affection could mean compassion.
Meaning that like love itself is God rather than your loving God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about spreading love to just another co-human just because of them existing.
Yeah.
Without any kind of inhibitions.
Or agenda.
Yeah.
How do you think it tackled the idea of communism?
I feel like it does get slightly propaganda-ish because it only speaks about the merits of communism, but it does it in a way where I feel it doesn't push it down your throat, right?
See, the thing I quite liked was I liked the dancing scene in the street.
Oh yeah.
It's a theatre scene,
yeah.
I thought that was really interesting where they... what was the story they were presenting?
So if I'm not wrong, they were trying to convey... So Therukoothu is traditionally a thing that a lot of people do. It's not just limited to this film.
Right. Okay.
It's basically performers. It's like a drama happening in the street. Think of it like a
Street
dance
drama.
mob. Or something.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like street drama, but
Yeah.
it's also kind of a mob where they just show up and they start performing. And because art is used, dance, music is used to push ideas, push stories or agendas to people. Because back then you didn't have social media, you didn't have people. A lot of people couldn't read, so they can't really look at newspapers and
They can
read.
listen.
Yeah,
And
they can
watch.
listen. They can listen to radio, but if they don't have access to radio, this is where they get their information from. This is how they know what's happening in the world or what's happening around them. And the Therukoothu is what they do to spread awareness, spread information to people. And this is not limited. This has been happening for generations.
So not just within communist organizations or anything like that. It's
Nothing like that.
Religious as well.
Religious as well.
And okay.
Yeah, you can have religious plays like that as well. You can have something that is, just for fun as well. Yeah,
cool.
Just to entertain people. Yeah. And I really like how they did it in the film.
Yeah.
Because they kind of give the exposition for what's happening in the film, like what's happening at that current moment through the Therukoothu. Yeah, and that's also when he meets the girl. I forgot her name, Bala, in the film, and she doesn't understand what they're trying to say, so she gets pissed. She just gets pissed because the driver tells her that they're making fun of your dad, and she just gets pissed. But only after intently listening, she understands that that's actually. Later in the film, she understands that these guys are actually saying something right.
What do you think about how they went about and hid their meaning in the artwork they created?
I love that scene. I know you have issues with that scene.
Yeah. So
I love that scene.
Just signpost. So in the film, there's a part of the movie where the main character is an artist and he creates an artwork that hides different symbols within a painting. And I think there's interesting points to it, and I think there's interesting points to it, both for and against. Why do you like it?
I like it because it's like sticking your finger at the enemy without them knowing it. It's like a Trojan horse.
Yeah.
Right? The enemy doesn't really know till he looks, till someone has to tell him, and he's like, oh shit, well, that's actually not what I wanted. And for someone who he is a traditional bad guy, he's a traditional religious. He uses religion to get his way, and for someone to stick it up to him like that, it was very satisfying for me.
What I liked about it was a stick up to the big dog. You know what I mean? Like it was like a fuck you to him. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I'm like, I don't know. I like the idea of this guy being an honest dude. And I was like, yeah, I get that. I get that's cool, that's fun. But at the same time, I'm like,
Which guy being the honest one?
Sivam.
Sivam being the honest dude.
Yeah, I mean, like, his whole persona was loving everyone. You know what I mean? Like,
I think at that point of the film, he was more of a rebel.
True. I thought his girlfriend at the time was more the rebel. Still didn't think he was.
Interesting.
Because he didn't seem like a rebel. He seemed like a loving person still.
Yeah.
The girlfriend was pushing the rebellion, but he was still like, well, I just do art and I paint and do this and whatever. that was it.
Yeah.
So that's where I was like, he took a massive influence from a part of his life and put it in there, which I think was the girlfriend's influence rather than his influence. That's my take on it. What do you think?
Maybe.
Not that it's a bad thing. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I don't know. It feels like it's not as true to his character as it could be.
I think he changed into someone who becomes more loving after the accident.
Yeah.
I think the accident is what happened in his life. He has to accept himself. He has to love himself first so that he could love everyone else around him.
Because he was seen as the good-looking guy, and he was very suave, and he chatted his way through everything and all that sort of stuff. So I get that. Okay, I can see that. Yeah.
You don't have to agree with me.
No, it's more I want to understand the point. So from a political point of view, Paddy, what did you think communism was trying to say? Or what was it preaching?
I feel like it wasn't saying... I feel like it was saying capitalism bad. But at the same time, it wasn't necessarily saying communism good. I feel like it was saying love is good. Communism could be good, but that's up to you.
What makes you say that?
Because the main character is a communist and that's his entire character. Even though it feels propaganda-ish, he wasn't exactly pushing his agenda everywhere. Even with
I mean, the religious leaders seem to push it more.
Yeah.
Right? He was more just pushing... I mean, in the first half of the movie, he didn't know he was communist until it turned to his past.
Yeah.
So I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you like how Anbarasu was slowly becoming more kind?
Well, yes. Was it on the nose? I mean, it felt like it had to happen.
It had to happen. I think it had to be on the nose for people to understand.
Yeah. And see, that's the funny thing. Just because something's on the nose doesn't mean it's bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because I still feel like we enjoy seeing those stories where someone changes their mind about certain things. Because he didn't turn into a communist.
He didn't know.
He just turned into someone that loved people more.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, an important part.
Yeah. I think he was selfish at the start and he became selfless. Well, a bit selfless. A bit less selfish, to put it.
He's not the greatest guy in the world.
He's not the greatest guy. But great performance from Maddie. Did you realize it was the same guy from Irisutu?
The guy with the beard?
Yeah, that's the same guy.
No, I didn't know that at all.
I thought you would catch that. But yeah, it's the same guy. 20 years ago, but yeah.
Yeah, right.
I feel like he does become a bit selfless and I like that.
Well, I think the scene that's really good and interesting was the giving blood scene.
The giving blood scene. I like the scene right after.
Yeah?
That was a good scene.
Yeah.
But I like the scene right after where he questions what happened. Like, you know, when the person passes away in the ambulance, even after he gives blood.
True.
And they're outside and he starts to question life.
Yeah.
And he gets an answer from Sivam that changes his perspective, that makes him crack up a bit. But it makes us wonder, or it makes us think about life as well. That's my favorite part.
What did it mean for you, that scene?
That was the scene that really hit the point that Anbe is Sivam. Love is God. Right? That's what I loved. It made the film clear at that point, like what the film was about.
But for you personally, what changed for you? How did you think about the world a little bit differently?
It made me want to be more compassionate and kind to people around me. That was for sure.
Yeah. When
it also made me believe less in religious practices because my family is very religious. I'm okay with the religious part, but they're also very superstitious. But this film goes the other way and it kind of teaches us that, not teaches us, but it tells us that that's not what God would appreciate if God really exists. Right? If you're kind to one another, that should be what...
That should be more important.
Yeah.
When did you watch this movie for the first time?
Many times when I was 6. I didn't finish the film. I watched the first part till because I love the scene. That's a small bit in the, I think, one of the dance numbers or the songs that happen. When Maddie gets hit by the tree branch when he's dancing. He's high and he's dancing on top of the bus. I used to love that bit when I was young, so I watched the film till then. And then I would go, I don't understand anything else, so I'm going to stop. So when I was like 7 or 8 years old, I used to watch all that.
Yeah.
And I only understood the film, or I only understood the
heavy bits.
The heavy bits as I started becoming older.
Yeah. So did it hit it wouldn't have hit for the first time when you were younger? No. How old were you in it?
I watched it completely when I was about 12 or 13.
Yeah.
I still didn't get the communism part. I still didn't understand what communism was.
Right.
All I understood was the religious part.
Right. Okay. That was pretty big for you at that time.
That was pretty big for me.
Yeah. So now, do you? I was gonna say, are you religious?
I don't know. Did Anbe Sivam make you rethink religion in any way?
I think religion is a very interesting topic,
For sure.
obviously, but for me, religion's more. I've never really grown up with a strong push of religion. I have two religions that are big in my life, so Hinduism and Catholic. So I was always taught to explore both ideas and to look at it from many perspectives. So like lots of different people in my life have had their own opinion on what religion means. So for me, I think it explored the theme that religion is love. And I think that's where I've kind of come in the last 3 years, where I've gone, you don't need a religion to love people.
And all religion preaches the same thing.
Yeah.
Love.
Very, very strong concept, I think. I don't think that's too controversial.
Yeah.
Yeah. What made you put this in your top 5 of all-time films?
I think just the fact that it made me rethink religion. It made me question why certain things are certain ways.
Why did it make you question? What was the thing that really made you question it?
Because, my family is very religious.
Yeah.
And so we do like rituals and stuff like that for the sake of getting, a goodwill or karma from God, right? And this film made me question the practices, because what's the point of doing all this and being not compassionate, not kind to one another?
Yeah. Not doing all of the practices and not being kind to each other
Exactly.
is a conundrum or a paradox.
Name drop.
Name drop. Yeah, I think it has to, if you're going to do all the practices, there's no problem with that, but you should keep being kind to people.
Yeah.
And that's not always as it should be. Is there a particular scene that really leaned you into that, or?
Not a particular scene, but the film as a whole.
Yeah, okay.
Because
just reflecting on the film.
Yeah. Look, he shows kindness to people or things that he shouldn't even.
Yeah.
If you're a right-minded individual, or right-minded is the wrong word.
Yeah.
If you are a normal person, you would hate the dog that caused the accident that made you lose almost half of your life.
Yeah.
Right? You would want revenge on people who are trying to kill you. You would want revenge on, or at least go tell the love of your life that you're still alive and your dad is lying to you. But he chooses compassion. He chooses kindness. He chooses to be better than a normal person every single time. He adopts the dog that causes the accident and he calls him his son. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that bit at the end.
I really love when Sivam does that in the film. He literally calls him, like, he kind of calls, everyone else calls the dog Sunyan. Sunyan means bad omen, but in like a very negative way.
Yeah.
All right. It's kind of like a bad word.
Right.
Almost. But he chooses to call him something else. I forgot what he calls him. But he does call him.
He compares him to his son or something like that.
Yeah. He tells Anbarasu that he has a son and it's a dog. And even at the end, when he could have told his former love that he's still alive and that the dad is lying to her, he chooses his mission over his love. Right? He wanted fair wage for all the employees of this particular factory, and he still goes ahead with that instead of.
I remember now. Yes.
Yeah. Instead of going to her or trying to stop the wedding from happening. And when he finds out that Anbarasu is the one who's going to marry his love of the life, he decides to keep quiet and just leave.
Yeah.
Right. And at the end, when the henchman was going to go kill him, and he, what's the word for it? Atones for his sins to Sivam. Sivam just laughs and says, I forgive you. Even though he's not the person in power at that particular point, the power dynamics just switch, right? He drops the sickle and he goes, I'm so sorry. Everything I've earned bad will and bad karma in my life, and I gave it to my daughter, and my daughter is suffering because of all the bad shit I did in my life. I shouldn't. I do not want to kill you, even though my boss told me to. And at that point, Sivam does have a bit of power, like a bit of an emotional power, but physically he has no power in that scene.
I mean, he wouldn't have much power in most scenes.
Yeah.
but yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, and he chooses to say, I forgive you.
Yeah.
And he just laughs and he starts walking. And the song starts playing. Oh, the song starts playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Favorite song from the film?
That song. It's called Anbe Sivam, I think. The song itself is called Anbe Sivam. Yeah. The credits song. Yeah. Such a beautiful scene. If you know what it means, it's even more beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you were to rate this film out of Slippery Cucumbers, how much would you rate it?
5 slippery cucumbers.
I think...
Actually, no, I'll give it 4 3/4.
Yeah, why?
I clearly very much love the film. I enjoy the film. That 1/4 is just because I do not like some of the action scenes and the unnecessary dance sequences in the film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I would rate it probably 3.5. Only because I'm still on the second watch. I'm still trying to understand everything that's happening.
Yep.
I don't speak language, and I'm still enjoying it. There's still parts I did enjoy, so that's why it's also 3.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Say something to Kamal Hassan right now.
I did like I thought the use of the non-linear structure was cool.
Yeah.
Going back and forward. I mean, it's a cool trope, and I think it worked. I think it did work in pushing the story forward and creating a stronger character. So I think the writing was pretty good. Yeah.
He loves Kamal Hassan now. He's another fanboy.